set up my trading desk. You can see right here, this is Trading View. This is where I'm going to be doing all of my analysis and finding my trades. Right here on the right, I have my trade journals. Up here, I have my exchange where I'm actually going to be entering and taking the orders here. And then over on this monitor, this is where I'm going to be doing something called a daily bias, where I'm figuring out which direction I think the market's going to move in. And I can sort of generally keep an eye on what's happening in the market over on this side. Okay, so it is about 9:30 right now. I do have an idea of a trade I want to take, but I want to show you some analysis on the day first that's leading me to think this is a good idea. And then we're going to get into hopefully finding the... So like I said, I'm trying to figure out which direction I think the market is going to move overall for the session. That way I can play into those sort of ideas. So what I've done here is pulled up a chart of Bitcoin. I'm trading cryptocurrency today. Bitcoin kind of guides me in the general right direction of the overall crypto market. And so what I'm going to do is go out to a 4-hour time frame, which basically means that these individual candlesticks here are showing me 4 hours worth of total price movement on Bitcoin. And what I'm going to use is a strategy called Elliott wave theory, which is basically when I study the wave formation of trends and try to figure out where we could be in a trend, and also some other general technical analysis. And when I'm doing technical analysis, I'm basically drawing different things on a chart to try to find indications of potential directional changes. That's going to eventually help me make money. What I'm seeing here is we have this overall trend, and I'm trying to count to see if we have a 5-wave development, and that's what Elliott wave is. So I'm kind of looking to see potentially we have a 5-wave setup, and I'm seeing that we have our first wave down to here, but we're potentially going to see something like this, because one of the biggest rules that I follow with Elliott wave theory is measuring this sort of first move and then being able to take these what are called Fibonacci multiples off of this initial move. So we have 161.8 and 261.8. Typically, the top of 5th wave, I've noticed especially with cryptocurrency, is going to go down to one of these levels. And we know that 161.8, if this is our first push, definitely not the end of the trend, which leads me to believe that we could potentially have to see a little bit lower down to this area. But sort of in the opposite direction of that theory, you can see we have this trend level that was just broken, retested, and now we're continuing to make a move higher. So this area that was broken up before, bounced off of, broke under, resistance is retesting now. If this breaks above it, it's going to be very, very bullish on the day, meaning that I think the general trajectory is going to go up. But if we react negatively off of this area and continue to break down underneath this level, we could play all the way down into this key zone here, which is going to open up opportunities on other pairs like Solana, Ethereum, stuff like that. So generally, I'm watching this area. I don't have a confirmed bias, but we could be looking at lower to retest this trend down to the 105 area for Bitcoin. Okay, so if we move over to our second monitor here, you can see I have Solana this time pulled up. I can do similar analysis on different pairs, sort of following the general trajectory of Bitcoin. So you can see right here, once again, we have a counter trend in this direction, price pushing up in this one. Once again, I'm counting that 5-wave pattern again to get a general idea of where I'm at on the trend. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going to be right, but this is leading me into high probable areas to enter trades. I'm actually in a trade right now, so I'll explain why I got into this trade here in just a second. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see this time measuring from this point, our 261.8 value is the exact value that this trend sort of topped out on before getting a rejection back down. So if I go down to a 3-minute time frame now, you can see the price actually pushed underneath this level here and formed this red block here, which is called a fair value gap. So I'm going to be targeting these fair value gaps here, especially when my custom indicator, which is this diamond indicator right here, is indicating all my different criteria that I'm following that I can't necessarily just share completely for free on YouTube, is telling me that the market could potentially flip. Now, the thing with day trading is on a technical basis, this could definitely drop. On my daily chart, we could get resistance off of this area, and then price could fall from here. Or this could get extra momentum, break through this level, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to trade in the positive direction. I don't have a super clear indication of what I think is going to happen for the day. You're not always going to get a clear bias. The big goal, if this moves up against me, I have my risk contained up to this area, so I'm going to get out of the market with a calculated contained loss. But if this wants to continue to move down into these areas, I can basically just follow that trend movement all the way down. And you'll see I'm estimated to make 6.7x what I'm risking on the trade, which if I'm right about this area, means that I could effectively win one trade, lose 5 trades in a row and be wrong, and still break even on the day. So if I have any edge whatsoever, and I can sort of start to anticipate these areas, this is basically how day traders end up making money. Looks like price is moving against us, but what I'm looking for now is a break underneath this level, hoping that price is able to flip and continue moving down. But once again, if this wants to push up against me, I'm going to get out, mark down my loss, and then try to find the next opportunity on the day. That's just how day trading works. Okay, it's going to be volatile. You're going to have losses, but overall, if I'm doing this correctly, risking $1,000, I should be able to make $5,000, $7,000 on a good trading day. So we're going to see now how I can do, and I'll sort of explain to you generally how I'm finding these ideas and sort of share how I do this along along the way. Okay, we have a gym session with Jesse in a few hours here, and we're actually taking a helicopter to go to dinner. So I got a busy day. I'm going to be working while I'm trading, but now let's see if we can make some money. Okay, so we're starting to get a bit of a move in our direction. You can see we had sort of this blow off area where we tested this fair value gap, but we held the center point of it, targeting the center points there. Okay, so the fact that we did get an area of response here, now what I'm doing is waiting for a break underneath this level. And once we get to this blue line, I'm going to be taking half the position off. I'm going to be basically locking in all of what I was risking on the trade and then letting the rest sort of run. Hopefully, you can see we're not really quite breaking underneath this level and we're starting to get momentum. So it wouldn't surprise me for this to come up and then also end up moving through our stop loss. That's just kind of how trading works. You have to sort of let the trade breathe, let the possibility of risk be open to you in order to be able to play that reward, but always keep contained and calculated. So it looks like we could get a little bit of a move up now if this doesn't break quickly, but if it does, we'll take some profit off, like I said, and then we'll